We're going to move on to our third segment today, and this is an article again from the Sun-Times. 11th hour compromise reached on civilian police review over Lightfoot's objections. Mayoral ally refused to consider it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Mayor Lightfoot has killed and prevented the Public Safety Committee from voting on the Community Commission ordinance that she promised as a candidate she would pass in her first 100 days in office. Ladies and gentlemen, we are over 730 days into her administration. Yes, we had COVID. So let's knock out 400. Let's knock out 450. We are still 300 days, even if you give her that time. 300 days. She wants the most watered down, the least meaningful, the least useful possible version of that ordinance. It was originally GAPA and CPAC were competing ordinances. Lightfoot walked away from the bargaining table. GAPA and CPAC came together, created the compromised version. Lightfoot delayed a vote on it through Chairman Talafario, who's a lapdog for the mayor. He's also a cop, so he wants no more accountability on the police department. Don't you worry. And all the promises, him being progressive and open, and he can run his own hearings and pass anything he wants. Lie, 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 lie. All of that was lies. It was all BS. So when she walked away from the table, compromise version came up. He delayed now several months, waiting for the mayor to write what I would bet she wrote herself, a version of that ordinance. It came out and it's as weak as possible. I'm telling you, Mayor Daley and Rahm Emanuel would have had tougher versions. That's how weak the mayor's version is. It's a joke. It's just a joke. And there's almost no accountability in it. The mayor doesn't want accountability. She wants to campaign on being an accountability person, but she doesn't want to implement any. So let's go to some quotes from, so let me back up and say, right before this vote that was supposed to be last Friday, overnight, the compromise ordinance was tweaked again to separate out the ordinance that was going to part of a mandatory citywide referendum on whether or not this commission would have total control over the police department, and still they did not like it. The mayor was not going to lost. The mayor's version was not going to pass. If they allowed a vote on Friday, the only thing that was going to pass was the compromised version, the community group version. That's it. The mayor was going to lose. And of course, her lapdog, Chairman Chris Talafario, an ex-police officer, killed it. Let's look at a couple of his quotes. The mayor was not part of these conversations. She had her opportunity to work with the coalition on meaningful civilian oversight. The ordinance, this is from Alderman Ramirez Rosa. The ordinance that was introduced was not a serious proposal for civilian oversight, her version. And it was not. He is right. Her staff reached out to us earlier this week and put nothing on the table. All they said was, will you postpone the vote? The vote's been postponed how many times? How many years? It's time to pass this ordinance. You're right. You're right. These groups started at least in early 2016 trying to push this ordinance, come together, work with their community's members, and put this together. It is now midway, just about, through 2021, and we still don't have the ordinance. Of course, the mayor didn't offer nothing. She knew she was going to lose, so her office tried to say, can you delay the vote because we're going to lose? Why would you do that? How incredibly dumb are those phone calls? We're going to lose. Would you please delay the vote so we can try to find more time to possibly beat you? Are those the stupidest phone calls in the history of the world? I mean, the amateurness of Lightfoot's actions and her staff's, it's just mind-boggling. Here's a couple more quotes. Lightfoot campaigned on a promise to empower a civilian oversight panel to hire and fire the police superintendent and have the final word in disputes over police policy. Civilian oversight was a pivotal recommendation by the Task Force on Police Accountability, which she co-chaired, and in the fervor that followed the court-ordered release of the Laquan McDonald shooting video. Last line. After the election, Lightfoot changed her tune, just as she has on her support for an elected school board the elected school board bill approved by the Illinois House this week over her strenuous objections. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Flip Flop just got caught flip-flopping again. The amateurness and the rank dumbness of the politics here, it's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I'm for civilian oversight. I'm going to pass in the first 100 days. Oops, no, I'm not. Against all of it. Wait a minute. I'm for an elected school board. I'm only for like 4 of like 15 or 25 or something being elected. So I'm for a small enough crew that'll make no difference on what gets passed on the school board. All the rest will be my appointees. It's unbelievable. These are 6 years they've been working on this community commission. Here we are, nothing happens. 6 years. Campaign promise to pass it, meaningless. She doesn't care. She's got 2 years of her administration, 4 years before that when she was fighting for it. Then she gets in and she's against it. Wow, is that the Chicago two-step or what? So we'll see what happens. Originally, Friday's meeting the vote got postponed till Monday, and then Talafario over the weekend changed that again because obviously they did a head count and realized they weren't going to win that vote either. Here we are, maybe next month. I'm not going to hold my breath. I would think 2029 at the rate we're going. It may never happen. It'll be interesting to see her run with no community commission at all being passed. Because I don't see the Progressive Caucus, Ramirez Rosa, Michael Rodriguez, and others voting for her version. I just don't see it happening.